Sony State of Play, could there be a Nintendo Switch and PS5 Pro, and your daily gaming news recap. Coming right up. Woo! Welcome back to Sodi Pop right here on YouTube. Today is Monday, August 3rd. I'm Matty, and this is Chatty with Matty, your source for the daily gaming news recap. Of course, if you're looking for any particular story, I have timestamped everything below. With that being said, I have my drink. Let's chat. Alright, to begin with, Sony announced a State of Play for August 6th, this coming Thursday. Unfortunately, they will have no news on the next-gen PS5, and this, of course, hot off the heels of Microsoft also having no news of the next-gen pricing, which has been like pulling teeth trying to get information for these next-gen systems out of Sony and Microsoft. So with the State of Play here on the PlayStation blog, updates on upcoming PS4 and PSVR titles take the spotlight. So, quote, "It's been a while, but a State of Play returns this Thursday with a focus on the third-party published games coming to PS4, PSVR, and we'll have a few PS5 game updates on third-party indie titles you saw last June's PS5 showcase." The episode is weighing in at 40 plus minutes. We've got a great lineup in store featuring plenty of new gameplay footage and other game updates. Can't wait to hear what you think. And just to be super clear, there will be no PlayStation Studios updates on Thursday's episode. There won't be any updates around hardware, business, pre-orders, or dates either on Thursday. Our focus is squarely on showcasing some cool upcoming games coming to the broader PlayStation ecosystem. Should be fun, and that will be August 6th at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time, or 9 p.m. BST. What does BST stands for? It stands for something. I'll put it on screen. Anyways, yes, don't expect any next-gen or PS5 or PS5 studio announcements, just to keep that in check, but we are going to see some games, which is always very exciting. Also, Analogue announced or released its pre-orders for the Analogue Pocket, which they look beautiful. I did not get one. I chose to wait because we have the PS5 and Xbox coming up. I'm like, I'm gonna wait. I do want these, but apparently they sold out within minutes. So very, very cool. $199.99, and they sold out immediately. If you're looking at playing GBA or Game Boy, and then they also will have an extension for many other types of handhelds as well. You can see all these like different pocket cases, little chargers. They have the analog dock. Man, looks real good, definitely. And look, the Neo Geo Pocket adapter, Game Gear adapter. Oh, it looks so good. They're so good at designing stuff. But definitely would like one, but going to have to wait. Hopefully you were able to pick one up if you're watching this. Also, PlayStation 5. So PlayStation 5, we've been talking about how Microsoft and PS5, that there probably won't be these mid-gen console updates that we saw with PS4 Pro or Xbox One X. But we are seeing maybe that could change. So this here is a patent that was filed by Sony a little while ago, just became public. Now, patents don't necessarily mean anything. So we're going to dive into this with the help of really Tweaktown. So Tweaktown wrote a whole article on this patent. Ultimately, it means we could see more PlayStation 5 types of systems, and there's several ways in which this could be used. So what we're seeing here is a multi-GPU outline. So if you've ever had like a computer system or CPU, or sorry, just a computer, I should say, personal computer, you can actually put in two graphics cards, and then you can actually connect them together. I believe it's called through SLI. Now, a lot of people have done that. The problem is a lot of games don't necessarily support SLI well. Some games are much more CPU based, not as GPU based, so SLI, two graphics cards together, doesn't work as well. It's been really varied and limited support for double graphics cards. But this outlines some stuff with PlayStation 5 and how it could be used. So we're going to go ahead and go through this Tweaktown article. The most exciting one, so they're talking about uses, to mention of dual GPU or even dual APUs, consoles for massively increased performance. Sony could be setting itself up for a PS5 refresh or a PS5 Pro with multi-GPU support. The patent isn't that simple though. There is a mention of cloud gaming thrown in the mix, and that's not just based around the local hardware. So there's several ways in which they could be using this patent. This patent is pretty big and covers a lot of stuff. So we're going to dive into it with the help of this wonderful article. From our understanding, this patent has lots of potential for new PlayStation hardware that exceeds the PS5 next-gen capabilities. There's multiple embodiments that outline a number of different methodologies for the tech, and these embodiments are pretty exhaustive. The most obvious is the PS5 Pro, but there are also hints that Sony could release a smaller, cheaper PlayStation stick with a limited power APU or system on chip that's specifically designed for PlayStation Now. The stick would basically be the only powerful enough to display the process simple images, and the brunt of the image rendering and processing would be done on server side. So they talked about the PS5 Pro, how there could be actually 2 GPUs attached to one CPU or one pool of memory, but they would each have their own CPU. They also talked about how there could be 2 GPUs with their own dedicated memory. So there's a lot of different patents. Now, if you want to go ahead and read into it, you can get into the nitty gritty. But essentially, so at the same time, the patent is careful to mention that this extra GPU access could be provided by PlayStation Now servers and not local hardware. So you can possibly maybe have a PS5 that is then empowered a little bit more by these non-local GPUs, just upping its performance. And it's funny because Sony actually uses Microsoft Azure servers to do this. So pretty interesting that they do this. All right, and then this is the $100 PlayStation console stick. After a few years ago, Microsoft was working on Project Hobart, a streaming-only stick that plugged directly into your TV. The idea is that Hobart would be a mini console for a minimal and power capabilities. Instead of using the onboard system on chip fit for gaming, Hobart would borrow power from Microsoft's mighty cloud server banks. The hardware was abandoned because it didn't have the streaming infrastructure. It now does, called Project xCloud, which we've been talking about. But Sony has its own PlayStation Now service, and this patent could be the service pumping out serious gaming power to low-cost boxes or even streaming sticks for massively accessible gaming. By mimicking Project Hobart, Sony could effectively launch the cheapest PlayStation console ever. It would be a small, low-powered box or HDMI stick that plugs right into the TV and leverages PlayStation Now servers for game performance and streaming. Sony could outfit this PS Now service with PS5 consoles to deliver PS5-esque performance at these boxes over the cloud. This could also allow Sony to natively add PlayStation gaming to its line of premium Brava TVs. Also, UHD TVs could be equipped with these boxes and directly connect to PlayStation Now to allow built-in PS4 and PS5 cloud gaming. An older Sony patent also seems applicable here. In it, Sony outlined that the PlayStation 5 DualSense could connect directly to the PlayStation Now network without needing a console. This would let consumers connect their next-gen DualSense controller directly to the low-cost box or even the aforementioned console-free Bravia TVs for cloud gaming. So that sounds really cool. There's a lot of different uses. So you could use for PS Now. They could be combining 2 GPUs for an updated PS5 Type Pro. They could be using the PS5, and then you can maybe buy extra graphics processing hardware through PS Now to kind of give you a PS5 Pro without having to buy a full PS5, like new PS5. Or you could have this system on a stick, which you just plug into your TV and it connects online, and then the PS Now servers are doing all the brute force. Now, of course, remains to be seen. You know, we've seen a lot of these systems that there's tons of lag, even with really good internet. It just doesn't function as well as you'd want it to. So we will see come the future. Of course, this is a patent. It could mean absolutely nothing. Speaking of meaning maybe absolutely nothing, we saw this weekend a nice little listing for NVIDIA. Now, NVIDIA is looking for an embedded graphics engineer. This is referring to possibly a next-gen Nintendo system. So Nintendo obviously came out quite a few years ago with the Nintendo Switch. The hardware is old. They are using a Tegra, I believe, X1 processor on the latest revision of Nintendo. Remember, they are using a Tegra X processor, and the new X1 variant makes it a little bit more efficient, gives it a longer battery life for the newest Nintendo Switch. But other than that, doesn't really do too much more as far as giving a better graphics performance or anything. So that's been outdated. Now, NVIDIA is who designed the chips for Nintendo Switch, and Nintendo Switch is due for an upgrade of some sort. So a lot of people are pointing to this specific job listing for Nintendo Switch. Now, this is what the senior embedded graphics engineer would be doing. So number 1, collaborate with software engineers, architecture teams to craft, develop, test, and optimize graphics stacks like Vulkan, OpenGL, and other proprietary graphics APIs. Could be referring to Nintendo. We'll skip the next 2, but the last 2, or almost last 3, point to what we could be talking about. So work on solution to use artificial intelligence in graphics technologies like NVIDIA DLSS 2.0. What is that? Why is it important? Well, essentially this is a super sampling technology that they've used that mimics 4K without having the GPU make a straight up 4K resolution, which is a brute force solution. Yeah, it looks great, but it takes a lot of processing power from the GPU. Now they're able to mimic this on the software side. Now if you look at like Digital Foundry, the DLSS 2.0, they say how amazing it looks, and they actually refer that games this next generation, instead of doing native 4K, they could actually use something like DLSS 2.0 instead of that, get a lot better performance and get 90-95% of the way there with how good and crisp that 4K looks from that. Now remember, the PS4 Pro has its own checkerboarding, which kind of mimics 4K. It's not native 4K. And then Sony is apparently working on their own DLSS 2.0 type solution to make it so it's easier for its console to perform 4K, and it looks good and crisp without a negative effect on GPU performance. So that's huge. Now again, neither PS5 nor Microsoft are using NVIDIA, so they won't have DLSS 2.0 unless some sort of deal is struck, but they won't have that. But Nintendo could. That's amazing. They could have a less powerful console, but use this actual technology to mimic 4K with great results. Also, in addition to this listing, it's saying take part in performance optimization of various SW components of Tegra graphics and system software stack. Again, Tegra. Tegra is the type of chip that is in the Nintendo Switch. So this could be hinting at the next gen. Now again, this is a new job listing. It could be several years off before we see anything Nintendo Switch, but really exciting. Finally, Nintendo hopefully getting into the next generation. Also, we have seen Dream Island hacked upload by Animal Crossing. Nintendo is deleting islands because a YouTuber is reporting them. This is BS. Now I have I have railed before. You maybe saw on Twitter that I have made fun of time skippers, and maybe they should be marked with a scarlet letter because I'm playing Animal Crossing the way you should. So is my girlfriend. I don't really care. This is a non-competitive online game. It's crazy. It's crazy that number one, they're banning people from the game. They've worked so hard on their islands. They've obviously spent probably hundreds of hours doing it. And then you have this YouTuber, Verilsify or whoever it is, actually reporting people and getting them banned. That is so messed up. So we'll go down here a little bit further. There are a good number of players who have reported that Nintendo has since removed their islands from Dream Share state. These islands should be fine and remain playable for their creator locally, but it appears they can't be shared with others. So a lot of people are removing their islands because you can opt into the Dream Share. From what we can find so far, it appears that a lot of this stemmed from a YouTube channel called Verilsify, or whoever it is, who has put out videos of himself reporting other Animal Crossing New Horizons islands who he believes have cheated in some way. Players likely to have run with this idea, and a number of users have had their islands removed from the Dream Share mode have increased significantly. As can be seen from the above video, it appears that Verilsify is doubling down on the stance reporting Animal Crossing New Horizons, and we had to guess that this is likely just an attempt to garner any sort of fame from the situation that is unfolding. Verilsify reporting players' islands for silly hacked items is quite petty, and if anything, is painting him in a very negative light. A look through the comments of his video reveals mixed responses. Some of his own viewers don't agree with his actions. Well, that about says it. So be careful if you're running hacked. It looks like you may not be able to upload your hacked island to the dream island. It's pretty stupid that Nintendo's removing them anyways, as long as it doesn't mess with your game. And if you guys haven't yet, please, of course, like, comment, subscribe. Click the bell down below if you enjoy these videos and would like to see more content like it. Of course, let me know what you think down below about all the stuff Nintendo is doing. What games are you excited to see? Did you get your hands on an Analogue Pocket? It looks amazing. Of course, I have some new videos coming up. I'm still adding to my setup, and there's some things coming for my background. So there's a lot of things that will be changing over about month and a half or so, and then I'll be getting back to live streaming. I'm still waiting on my desk. My desk is on back order, so I was planning to live stream much earlier, but it will be happening on Twitch sooner or later. All right, let's move on to some of the bigger stories. Again, PlayStation 5 answering your questions on compatible PS4 peripherals and accessories. This has been a big question. It's coming from officially from the PlayStation blog. So let's break it down here. Specifically, peripherals such as officially licensed racing wheels, arcade sticks, and fight sticks will work with PS5 games and supported PS4 games. The Platinum Gold wireless headsets, as well as third-party headsets that connect via USB port or audio jack, will work on the PS5. So that kind of sucks. It sounds like there will not be native Bluetooth support for your just Bluetooth headset. You're going to need one that has a USB dongle. The PS4 DualShock controller and the PlayStation officially licensed third-party gamepad controllers will work with supported PS4 games. Both the PS Move controllers and the PlayStation VR aim controller will work with supported PSVR games on PS5. Please note, not all PlayStation officially licensed or third-party peripherals accessories may work with PS5. We recommend checking with the manufacturers to confirm a product will work with PS5 in specific titles. Will DualShock work with PS5 games? No. We believe that PS5 games should take advantage of new capabilities and features we're bringing to the platform, including the features of the DualSense wireless controller. Is the PlayStation camera for PS4 compatible with PS5? Yes, PlayStation camera will work with PS5 for playing supported PSVR games. It will require a PlayStation camera adapter that will be provided at no additional cost to the PSVR users. More details on how to get that adapter will be announced at a later date. And that's it. So, your PS4 controller will work for PS4 games on the PS5. That's great. I was hoping, but I wasn't expecting, since there is a new PlayStation 5 controller. The DualShock 4 will not work with PS5 games. That makes sense, with the different rumble capabilities and then the adaptive triggers. Could they have put it in somehow? Well, I don't know, because there's that new create button. There's maybe not. Maybe it'll just be, it's unfortunate that you have to buy whole new things. I wish some games would support it, some not, but it doesn't. There's an all new controller. That's the cost of getting an all new, completely new controller that functions differently and feels differently. Hopefully the trade-off is there where the controller is good enough where you're like, I don't mind not using the DualShock 4 anymore, or if I need a second one. But it is unfortunate. I'm glad at least the DualShock 4 will still be compatible and usable with our previous games. Xbox took no time to strike back though. Xbox Series X is backwards compatible with all Xbox One controllers across all games. That's huge. Again, having peripherals that you've been buying for years that just will follow with you is phenomenal. Xbox has a good controller, so that's very cool. Of course, this coming at the cost of getting nothing new. You get that Xbox Series X, it's going to be an Xbox controller. It's not going to have any new contraptions, not going to have the adaptive triggers, not going to have the rumble. Will those things matter? Again, we have to wait until it actually comes out to see if developers use it and it's actually really cool or not, and if waiting was a good choice. I want to pull out this GameSpeed article coming from Dean Takahashi. Why Anita Sarkeesian started the game and online harassment hotline. So I've been seeing, of course, we've been seeing the Me Too movement happen within gaming like crazy. I've also been seeing a lot of creators and online community people talk about their own harassment, not just harassment, but things like burnout. If you're a creator, it's easy to get burned out. I get burned out in here. It's so hot in here. I know that's not what burnout means, but seriously, it can be a big problem. So it's cool. She started essentially, yes, a harassment hotline, but also goes into details that is not just for harassment. Again, for people that are feeling the pressure or trying just for a listening ear to talk to. It's amazing. So I'll tell you how it works and then a little bit about what it's for. And then you should really go ahead and read the complete article. I know Anita Sarkeesian, she's been both loved and hated before, so think of it what you will, but I think this is an awesome service. So, quote, people can initiate the process by sending a text message to 23368, and then they can arrange for a phone call. The hotline has been trained call center experts and volunteers to handle the calls, and they can refer people to the proper resource, such as suicide prevention, as needed. The hotline opens at 4 p.m. Pacific time on Monday, August 3rd, so today, and it should be open right now. It will be available from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday. Now, they're initially starting with that because there are a lot of upstart costs. Eventually, they want to be 24/7, but for right now, they have to start with limited days, limited hours, just to get kind of a base going, because there's a lot of money and time involved with this. A little bit lower, so she details who this is for. Sarkeesian. The advice that I personally would give you if you called me and said, hey, this is what's going on, is not how the hotline is going to operate. Those are two separate questions. I think that I was describing before about the hotline meeting people where they're at. You text in and say, quote, I'm having this issue, and the agent taking that text is going to follow your lead in a lot of ways and be there for you. Some people just want to be heard. They just want someone to talk to. Other people are going to want help thinking through the next steps of a particular situation. Our agents are equipped to do that, and we're not prescriptive. We're not going to say you should do this. I also want to make it clear that the hotline is for emotional support resource for all kinds of emotional distress and issues. It's not just around harassment. Now, she talks specifically in this article, it's not just around harassment, but it is specifically geared towards gamers. She talked about how the agents have to know what something like swatting is and things like that, where a lot of people or mental health professionals have no clue what that is. You have to describe it what it is. So she says they're trained in knowing the ins and outs of the actual gaming landscape. So it's really cool. It's really meant for everything. Again, the number, if you even just want to test it out, just see what it's like. I mean, I think everyone should get some sort of counseling at some point. Again, you text 23368. They're open today, right now, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Pacific time. So Monday through Friday, so during the weekdays. So go ahead and check it out. Sounds like a really cool service. I hope people can get some use out of it. Back to some games. Spider-Man coming to Marvel's Avengers exclusively on PlayStation. Positive and kind of sucks for anyone that is getting Avengers anywhere else. Spider-Man, I would say easily some of the best Marvel movies in my opinion. Spider-Man, also one of my favorite Marvel superheroes by far. And yeah, I'm going to have the PlayStation version, but it's unfortunate. Of course, Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man. Again, those are a little bit confusing. You have to use them every couple of years not to lose them. But he will be coming in 2021, added to the roster, again at no additional cost to owners of the base game, exclusively on PlayStation. So for the coming future, maybe forever, we won't ever see Spider-Man on any of the other versions. That sucks. He's such a good character. I don't know. Again, this is back to like the exclusivities. It's weird to have it for third-party games. I get it for games, first-party games, but this alone, if I was planning on getting one version or the other, this would sell me on getting the PlayStation version for sure. I don't necessarily like this particular tactic. Maybe a timed exclusive, but a full exclusive, it makes sense. Again, Sony does own him, but this sucks. That sucks. I'm excited that he's coming, but it does suck. Definitely a positive for Sony. A new look at the Microsoft Store. So this is coming ahead of the Xbox Series X. Microsoft Store is doing an entire revamp, and it sounds fantastic. So this is coming from the actual Xbox.com. This is written by Cody Bird. It launches in under 2 seconds. So you can start up the store, launches in under 2 seconds, and the browse performance is greatly improved. So kind of to the bullet points, I mean, look at this. So you can look at all the different stuff side by side. You can see all the different pricing. I love that further down you can see this Gears 5. you can install. It says included with Game Pass. So it has Game Pass. You can see you have it. Boom. Oh, but what if it's on special pricing on holiday or something, and I know I'm not going to renew Game Pass, or this is a game that I know I'm going to love or I love, and I want to have it forever? You know what? I'm going to buy it for, in this case, it's $30, but there's so many PS5 games that may have gotten free with PS Plus or PS Now or something, but I actually want to buy because it's a holiday sale and it's only $15, and I know I'm going to want it forever for a long time, and I might not renew the other services. So I think that's really cool. Very, very nice, very easy and clean look to look at everything. So little bullet points on what this is all about. So number one, of course, very quicker. With the redesigned search functionality, it's easier to filter your search results. Guided by your feedback, we built the wish list. You can now easily add games to your wish list and luckily check out your list content, including keeping tabs on any sale pricing for your wish list items. Great, everything should have that. The updated shopping cart makes it easier to add items to your cart as well as view the items in your cart before and during purchase. We've also made it easier than ever to shop across 4 generations of great Xbox content by enabling customers to view pricing while browsing for the new Xbox One games and backwards compatible Xbox 360 and original Xbox titles, as well as add those games to your wish list or shopping cart. That's wonderful. They also say it's safer, so they have more controls for parental controls. It goes down here, you'll be seeing content ratings more clearly surface, so very obvious as to the rating for the game. That is wonderful for parents because that can be a nightmare when looking through your stuff. And then if you want to participate in this program, we'll be rolling out this update gradually. So if you're an Xbox insider, you may begin to see the new Microsoft Store on Xbox starting as early as August 5th, so in just a couple of days here on Wednesday. This experience will be available for more insiders over time as it rolls out to all of users this fall. That is awesome. Stores just need to get quicker. I know the Xbox store hangs up, the PS4 store hangs up, the Nintendo Switch store is just deplorable. All these things, I cannot wait till it's just instantaneous. There's no load time. And then you also talk about the layout too. I mean, the layout always needs work. The layout of PS Store, the layout looks like they've taken a big step here with the Microsoft Store. That is awesome. Also, another change to Microsoft, the boxes. A lot of people were complaining that these Xbox Series X looked awful. You see that big diamond right there, Xbox Series X? Well, that is being removed, apparently relegated to the back of the box. Microsoft listened and they are clearing up the actual art. That is nice. I mean, I didn't really care personally, but people do care about their box art, and having a big sticker on it or whatever that is, symbol, is never ever welcome. Well guys, that about does it for this day in Daily Gaming News Recap. I'm Matty. This has been Chatty with Matty. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Remember, follow me on the 3Ts and IG, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and Instagram at Sodi Pop Media. I will be on there hanging out. Again, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think down below. Have a wonderful day. Remember,
Be yourself.
and eat a cookie. Bye.